Hi, this is Amran Zor from Tech Destination Pakistan podcast. And we have Iman Arouj and Ziad Parekh, who are the leadership team of Safepay, one of Pakistan's leading payment providers. So if you've heard of Stripe, which does $1 million worth of $1 trillion worth of payments a year, Safepay does about $80 million worth of payments a year, and it's backed by Stripe. So Stripe has invested in them. And let's go on to hear the story of how they started, how they got into Y Combinator, and then what's the need for Get Safe Pay. So
Sure.
Ziad, do
Thanks,
you want to
Amir.
start?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having us on this podcast. Yeah, thanks for the introduction as well. So, a little bit of background. We were the first fintech from Pakistan to get accepted into Y Combinator, which is a pretty cool kind of accelerator that's based out of Silicon Valley in the US. And we went through that program for about 3 months during the very early stages of SafePay, where we were still kind of bootstrapping our way and understanding the complexities and intricacies of payments processing. We had already kind of developed the initial version, and on the back of that, we started to see some growth because of the product that we had built was resonating with a lot of the community in Pakistan. It was all word of mouth. It was all organic. So whenever we would drop a post on, Facebook communities like Startup Pakistan, etc., we would get some early traction, and that traction led to people started using us and validating the concept behind SafePay. That there was a real need for a modern payments solution for businesses and freelancers in Pakistan. And that's really what we set out to build. The vision was always to build the Stripe for Pakistan, because Stripe doesn't operate in Pakistan or offer solutions. Neither does PayPal, neither does any modern Western payments provider. So we wanted to fill that gap for Pakistan, and I think Y Combinator saw that in us. That's why they accepted us into their batch, and later on, Stripe saw that and invested in us. So it's been an incredible journey so far. We've been operational for about 5 years now. We're fully licensed and regulated by the central banks. The State Bank of Pakistan has given us a payment service provider's license. And today we work with, some of the largest e-commerce brands in Pakistan to all the way to the fast-growing startups that want to accept payments. And our kind of mission is to build the core infrastructure that Pakistan needs to conduct commerce online. And we want to try and move more and more of commerce on the internet because it allows people to connect in ways they haven't before, and really levels the playing field. And we think that every business or every commercial transaction requires some sort of payments exchange in the middle. And we think our infrastructure can power that. So that's a little bit about SafePay. I manage it from a day-to-day perspective and look after all of the product and engineering. Iman, she's my right-hand woman at SafePay. She's been with us from the start, and I think she can kind of give a little bit of background about herself.
Hi, I'm Iman, and I handle all the commercial operations of Safepay, all our customer acquisition, merchant onboarding, all is under me. So I'm obsessed with what our customers want and what their problems are and helping them solve them.
So why doesn't Stripe or exist, and PayPal, if you can touch on to that, because those are touchy subjects that all freelancers complain about. Why don't they exist, and how are you solving the problem? Are you able to do it?
So we sort of solve the same problem that Stripe or PayPal solve for a Pakistani merchant. Why Stripe is not in the Pakistani market or another market, like I would leave to Stripe, but they are pretty strategic about the markets they enter in. And we're essentially solving the same problem in Pakistan, right? So a business can onboard with us and accept payments from anywhere in the world. And PayPal, I don't know why they're not in Pakistan, but we do exactly what PayPal would do, where, okay, fine, we don't allow someone to have a PayPal wallet or anything like that, but in terms of accepting payments from anywhere in the world, we allow people to do that. People can accept payments in 6 different currencies. All they have to do is go through the onboarding with us, generate a link, send it to their customer or client, in case of like a freelancer, and their customer just has to click a link and they can pay via Visa, Mastercard in locally in 6 currencies, and then in any other currencies that would convert into go through a conversion process.
And what kind of documentation does onboarding require?
So onboarding depends on the business type that someone is onboarding with. So we follow the state bank guidelines for various business types. So it depends on the business that's onboarding, whether it's a sole proprietorship, partnership, private limited company, or freelancer. There's different guidelines. So freelancer onboarding is quite simple because it's not like a full-fledged company. And we can probably link with, whenever you post this podcast, whatever onboarding requirements freelancers have, and they can onboard with us.
Okay. And so let's go back to the journey from the beginning. How did you guys come up with the idea and know that there's a need? And then how did you know that you could solve it for Pakistan and getting State Bank of Pakistan on board? That must have been not an easy journey to go through. And then you've got venture capitalists like Fatima Gobi, I2I. They've invested $5.3 million dollars into your venture. So could you just talk us more through the startup journey?
Yeah. So to your first point, we knew there was a problem, right? Like I think when we used to try buy something online in Pakistan back in the day, I think when we started, this was around about 2019, 2020, when COVID was hitting. It still felt like Pakistan's e-commerce industry was where the US's e-commerce industry was back in the 90s, where you would have to go to a bank to open up a merchant account, sign lengthy documents, and still be on the hook on whether or not you'd be approved or not. And then the integration was a completely separate story. So we knew there was a problem, and no one was stepping up to really fix it at the time. So from a I think just an idea perspective, it was very interesting, something that we thought that we could build at least. We didn't think what that would entail, at least from the regulatory aspects, the compliance aspects, getting in touch with the state bank and going through the licensing and that whole process. We had no idea at the time. We were kind of just like bright-eyed, hoping to build something that we could launch in the market and put in the hands of people. And we did that initially, right? So we built it, launched it, didn't think about the regulatory kind of aspects of it at the time, and we figured, we'd fix things or figure it out as we go along. In hindsight, maybe, I don't know, there are two ways to think about it, right? Like for a startup, you want to try and be nimble and quick because, you know, the lack of speed is probably like the death of any startup. So if we had waited to become regulated and gone through the whole licensing process without building our product, we would probably not exist today. So I think what we did may have just potentially guaranteed our life at this point. And yeah, then we ended up figuring it out, right? It was a journey. It wasn't easy. It wasn't as straightforward as we thought it would be. There were a lot of ups and downs, and there still are to this day. But I think perseverance really matters. And we worked with the state bank. We have very good relations with them. I think they were also excited to see some young energy come into the fintech and a startup ecosystem, and they were also very excited to help us through with our licensing process. So that really helped. And alhamdulillah, we went through and got our license. So for your listeners who may not know, the licensing process is a 3-step process. You first apply, as a PFP, and they give you what's known as an in-principle approval. After your in-principle approval, you have to demonstrate that you are ready to commence your your pilot operations, which is the second approval that they give you. During your pilot, you're able to run as a PSP or whatever licensing regime you apply for. A PSP was our case. You're able to run as a PSP for about 8 to 12 months, where they continuously monitor and ask you for data to see if you're complying and if you have the right controls and procedures in place. After they're satisfied with your pilot, that's when you apply for commercial. So it's a three-step process. Took us about 3 years, but alhamdulillah, we're now on the other side and fully regulated entity. And now, we work, like I said, with some amazing brands in Pakistan. We work with businesses in all different industries, and we work with a lot of banks, a lot of financial institutions. We have to work with, and we do work with. We have great relations with them as well. And our mission, I think, has always been to just try and elevate and build the infrastructure that Pakistan needs. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
So you have big brands like Temu, Cambridge, Saphire working with you. And now Temu, which is a Chinese brand, if they didn't use you, they would be using a payment processor, which would mean that the money goes outside the country. But if you use Safepay, it means that the dollars stay in Pakistan. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So, Temu, they made a big storm in Pakistan when they came in, and they're an e-commerce brand that a lot of people in Pakistan shop from. Before we started, processing payments on their behalf, anyone who would shop online on Temu using their Visa, Mastercard, credit or debit card, the funds would leave Pakistan in the form of foreign exchange and go to Temu's bank account, wherever they're based. And that obviously would result in an outflow of foreign exchange, which is precious for a country like Pakistan. So what we wanted to do was try and so there are two things, right? One is obviously the foreign exchange that's leaving, and then the second thing is the tax that the shopper would get imposed on when they're making because it would be a foreign currency transaction. So there's obviously that added tax that the customer would face. So when Temu started using us, both of those problems disappeared essentially, right? All of the transactions were considered local because Safepay is a Pakistani, it's a domestic PSP. So any transaction made on Temu by a Pakistani in Pakistan would remain in Pakistan. So we, through that, we're saving a couple of $1 million a month in foreign exchange. And then the second thing is obviously we're reducing that burden of taxation on the end customer as well.
Okay, excellent. And what plans do you guys have for Safepay going forward? Do you intend to go international? Do you intend to solve only Pakistan's problems? And what do you see the state of e-commerce in Pakistan?
Yeah, Iman, you want to take that?
Yeah, we're really optimistic about how Pakistan's growing, and we're pretty focused on the Pakistani market because we think there's plenty problems here to solve. And we're very heartened by how we've seen e-commerce grow in Pakistan, and the way it's amazing watching Pakistani businesses join the global economy. So we're pretty focused on facilitating that and international businesses coming into Pakistan.
Yeah, and I think, there's so much happening as well, at least in the payments world in Pakistan, with the introduction of, Rast from a P2M perspective that we're super excited about. I think by virtue of us being a regulated entity, we get to connect directly into the state bank's infrastructure for building on Rast and exposing that to our merchants and other fintechs. So I think we're really looking forward to seeing how Rast will change the landscape of e-commerce, but also physical commerce as well, right? Like traditionally and today, everyone is very used to paying with their credit or debit card because that's really the only option you have right now to make a payment. But I think we're all getting used to the idea of these low cost instant payments that Rust is enabling for us in different forms, whether it's QR codes on, in person or online using your phone number or your IBAN. So it's a really interesting time to be in Pakistan building a fintech. So I think we're here for now at least.
Can you explain to someone who doesn't know what Rust is or an international person, what is Rust?
Sure, yeah. So Rust is Pakistan's homegrown instant payment system, analogous to what UPI is in India or what Pix is in Brazil. Pakistan has now developed its own indigenous instant payment system that connects all of the local banks, local EMIs or wallets, and PSPs in through a network that allows instant and free or very low cost payments between between individuals and businesses, between governments and individuals, etc. So it's opened up all of these use cases that can now run in parallel to Visa and Mastercard or card-based payment networks that are very prevalent in Pakistan. So yeah, it's a very cool new kind of initiative that they've taken on, and we're rooting for its success and we're building upon it so we can offer this to our businesses, even the likes of we've spoken with a lot of brands and of course Temu, etc. They're also very interested in it because it promises a much lower transaction cost compared to traditional payment methods like Visas and Mastercards. So I think everyone's excited by that, and of course the instant nature of it, where you get your funds within minutes of making the payment. That's also a pretty cool feature.
So it's a competitor to Visa, MasterCard, who have basically dominated the world for decades. And Rust will be doing that in Pakistan.
Absolutely. Yeah. We think it's a pretty strong contender to Visa and MasterCard. Of course, Visa and MasterCard have strong network effects already, and they're embedded into people's daily routines and habits. So it'll take some time to change. But I think the messaging that we're hearing is that people are excited to try it, and if not completely replace it, it will add a new kind of avenue and give choice to people. So Visa Mastercard is generally there are about 60 million debit cards in circulation today in Pakistan. That means roughly 3/4 of our population doesn't have access to these cards. So Rust potentially can unlock the rest of the population because that population has access to at least a bank account, or if not a bank account, then at least a JazzCash or an Easy Pesa mobile wallet. And Rust connects those. So even if you don't have a card today, and which means that you can't shop online or whatever, I think Rust will unlock that for the rest of the Pakistani population as well, and that will increase commerce happening through digital channels.
Amazing. So a lot of commerce happens with cash on delivery. Is that something that you get involved with, or you just take the payments and you don't worry about the delivery and the logistics element of it?
We're just involved in the payments process. Yeah.
Okay,
But
great.
Yeah,
And-
we don't work with cash.
And so the biggest, the other competitor, let's say you have, is Payoneer. How is it different than Payoneer Get Safepay?
The Payoneer, they're a good company for sure, right? Like I think freelancers are using them in Pakistan primarily because they are the only company that may work with Pakistani freelancers at this point. They offer, and they're a bit different, right? Like Payoneer builds itself as a digital first kind of mobile wallet that will issue you a virtual kind of debit card, maybe issue you a virtual bank account. Safepay, on the other hand, does two things. We allow you to process payments today as a freelancer. If you want, you can send invoices to your clients. You can send payment links. You can build your own checkouts if you have like a portfolio website, or if you want to, let's say, sell digital courses as a freelancer. You can build all of that through Safepay's payment processing capabilities. Payoneer, on the other hand, already has inroads into a lot of these platforms that freelancers use, like Upwork or Fiverr, and allows freelancers to pull their earnings into their Payoneer wallet. But Payoneer charges upwards of 3.5 to sometimes 5% of a freelancer's earnings, which really kind of eat into whatever they're making, and I think that's really unfair. So we're looking into solving that for freelancers. We're talking to a few of them right now to understand what the real pain points are with working with companies like Payoneer, what their ideal solution would look like, and working together with the freelancing community, we're trying to build the right solution for Pakistani freelancers built by Pakistani fintech.
Okay, amazing. So thank you so much for your time. And what would you say to people going into the fintech ecosystem of Pakistan? How do you feel about being entrepreneurs? You've got a team of about 25 now, 5.3 million raised, doing about 80 million a year. How would you advise the next generation or the current generation to get into this ecosystem?
We would say like be patient, because fintech requires a lot of patience, especially in a market like Pakistan. And just have a lot of grit so you can ride any challenge that comes, because the work is quite rewarding.
Yeah, and it's don't be fazed by the fact that you might think you're late. You're never late. I think the country has is a 240 250 million people population, so there's a lot of work to be done. And I think the more entrepreneurs that come in and develop solutions, the better the outcome for the country will be.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ziad and Iman, for your advice and doing some great work, because I think what you guys provide, especially for freelancers, is really what's needed. So thank you for that. And we'll wish getsafepay.com the best in the future. So thanks for being on Tech
And
Destination Pakistan.
we do want to say to freelancers, like, reach out to us. If there's any way we can help, reach out to us on LinkedIn, email us, and we're here to provide support so you can accept payments and grow your freelancing business.
Thank you.